Hey kiddies, Derek's here again with another Line 6 Pod HD500 video. We're going through the different amp models we have here today, and next up in line is the Vox AC-15, known as the Class A-15 in the pod. Um, this is going to be just a basic overview of how the amp sounds. I'm going to go through some of the different parameters in the amp and the cabinet, and also show you how it handles overdrive, and I'm going to show you some different guitars. The guitar I'm playing is a Line 6 Variax 300 model, and it's completely stock, and I'm using the Strat, the Tele, and the Les Paul models to give you an idea of how the amp sounds under different applications. So, anyway, a basic setup I'm using is the 2x12 PhD ported cabinet, the Dr. Z cabinet with a SM57 on axis. The room is turned all the way off, and some stock settings that I just start off with. In the amp, everything is normal, just like it is from the factory, but I turn the hum all the way down. And in the cab, same as with the amp, everything is where it's usually at, and the thump is all the way up. So let's hear how it sounds. I'm on the Spank model right now, and let's just hear how the amp sounds. This is the Vox AC-15. Bring that up just a little bit. Alright, so that's what the amp sounds like with the drive on 30. Let's crank it up to 50. And this is a lower wattage amp, so it's really, the Vox AC-15 was designed to give you a little bit more overdrive than the AC-30. With it being lower wattage, you can get more gain out of it at lower volumes. Alright, so that's a drive at 50. Let's hear it at 70. and finally with it cranked up to 100. Just kidding. So let's bring the gain back down and I'll actually tune the guitar. Try it again at 30. I'm going to take the drive. I think I'm going to leave it about 40. Let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, that might be a little too much. Let's try 35. Alright, so that's pretty good. Right there, let's listen to the different pickups and different guitar models, starting with the Strat. And now let's go to the Tilly. Now on to the Les Paul. Alright, so with that set, I'm going back to the strap model. Let's mess around with the amp parameters. First with the master volume. Works just like any master volume on any old tube amp. As you start to turn it down, the volume not only goes down, but also the power amp distortion. So let's hear what that sounds like with the master at 50. As you can hear, that really decreased the sound quite a bit. Let's turn it to, put it on 70. And now back up to 100. Very nice. Let's mess with the sag control. You've been hearing it at 50, so now let's hear it at 0. And this is supposed to tighten up the sound where there's not much give in the power section. So let's hear how it sounds. And here's with the sag on 100. I like the sag pretty low, so let's go back to 0 and hear that sound. I think I'm just going to leave it there. The hum control, I'm going to skip that because it really doesn't do anything but add, you guessed it, hum. So let's listen to the bias control. Here it is at 50. And here's the bias at 0. And here's the bias on 100. Alright, I like it at 100, so I'm just going to leave it there. Here's the bias excursion on 50. Here's the bias excursion on 0. And here it is on 100. I kind of like it there. I'm just cranking it up all the way. Not much tweaking to do. Alright, with these older amps especially, when you play an exceptionally bassy guitar through it, it tends to get a little flubby or muddy in the low end. So I'm going to demonstrate that with the Les Paul in the neck position and to demonstrate the low cut. So here it is without the low cut engaged. That's a very muddy sound. If I were to take the low cut and crank it up a little bit, let's say to about 170 hertz. Now, you are obviously losing some bottom end, but it cleans up that low end in the sound. So that's a cool feature to have if you're doing a lot of drop tunings or you just have a very bassy sounding guitar. The resonance level, let's hear how that sounds at 50. Here's the resonance level on 0. And here it is on 100. Now, warning, this is loud. Alright, so I'm just going to put that back at 50. The thump control, which is my favorite parameter on the unit. The thump control adds some low end in the sound, obviously, but it's in the cabinet, so it's not really affecting the low end distortion. I have the bass fairly low in the samp at 22%, but I'm still getting a nice low end out of it. I wouldn't get that thump engaged. And like I said earlier in the video, I've got it cranked to 100. It comes stock with it on 50, so let's hear how that sounds. And here's the thump on 0. So between the thump and the low cut, you can really fine-tune your sound to mix very well with your band if you find that your sound is just a little too bassy, or not bassy enough. So I want to crank that thump control back up because I don't find it really interferes with anything at that point. In fact, it sounds really good in a mix for me personally at that position. Alright, so very cool, very cool. Let's mess with some of the effects now. Starting with the boost comp. The boost comp works as a great like second channel type vibe. It adds overdrive to the amp without imposing a lot of tone, meaning it doesn't sound like you're putting a pedal in front of it. It just sounds like you're cranking the drive up. So let's hear how that sounds. Here it is without. Turn the drive up so we're actually boosting the sound. Maybe not quite that much. So that sounds pretty nice. You can mess around with different pedals to kind of get that sound. I like having the boost comp there just to kind of give it a little more hair from the amp without necessarily adding a pedal. But let's hear how a pedal sounds. This is the Chandler tube driver right here. Sounds pretty good. Let's hear the tube screamer. Alright, now let's hear the classic distortion. Bring the drive down a little bit, turn the output up, and turn the filter up. I'm going to bring that drive down just a little bit more. Alright, fellas and fellaettes, that's been the Vox AC-15 on the Line 6 Pod HD500. What can I say? It's a cool sounding amp. I really enjoy playing through it, and with some pedals added, it can really, though it's a small amp, can get you a really huge sound, and a sound like that really does tend to sit very well in a mix. So it's been used by countless great rock stars, so there's a lot of great tones in there, and I only showed you a few of them. I really only scratched the surface, but it's a really good sounding amp, and with some tweaking to match your guitar, you can cover a lot of ground with it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or message me here on YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and be watching my channel for some more videos. I'm uploading as many of these videos as I can to give people as much information as I know about these amplifier models. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and God bless you.